Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. When you first hear the words, they sound almost unreal, like a phrase engineered to disorient the listener. Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. The sentence lands in your mind with unexpected weight, heavier than the usual barrage of words we process daily. There's a strangeness to it, a peculiar rhythm, and you find yourself repeating it internally, letting it echo like the refrain of a song without verses. Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. It doesn't fit into your ordinary orbit. And yet, here it is, reshaping your breath, quickening your heartbeat, suggesting that reality has tilted just a few degrees off its axis. At first, you're skeptical. Why would Elon Musk want to meet you? He's a titan with responsibilities rivaling entire governments, a figure dominating headlines with rockets, electric cars, and social media storms. The idea seems absurd, like a hurricane pausing mid-ocean to shake your hand. But the words come from a credible source, an assistant's message, an official email, or a call disrupting your routine. They linger, refusing to be dismissed. They transform your day, making the unwashed dishes, unfinished work, and unread messages feel trivial, like props in a set about to be struck for a grander scene. You keep circling the mystery, why you? Out of billions, why has his attention fixed on you? Your imagination ignites. Maybe he read something you wrote, or your name emerged in some obscure report. Or perhaps it's something inexplicable. The uncertainty is thrilling, a mix of terror and exhilaration. Sleep eludes you that night as you replay the phrase like a mantra. Do people dream of this? Would those fantasizers envy or resent you if they knew it was real? The next morning, the world feels sharper, the sunlight more vivid, sounds crisper, from the fridge's hum to distant traffic. Reality seems upgraded, preparing you for what's ahead. Then, logistics unfold, a proposed time, location, and hints at the meeting's purpose. You stare at the message for hours before replying, your hands trembling. Sending it feels symbolic, a commitment to an irreversible path. In the days leading up, you study Elon Musk intently. You know the basics: Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, the Boring Company, his tweet storms, but now you seek patterns, clues. Interviews reveal his pauses, abstractions, and conversational redirects. Each detail feels personal, a preparation for a life-altering dialogue. Friends ask about your mood, but you hold back, fearing disbelief or questions you can't answer. The secret simmers inside, growing hotter. The night before, sleep is scarce. You rehearse scenarios, discussions of your work, wild proposals, or a brief, underwhelming chat. Morning arrives charged. You dress deliberately, questioning if you look the part, though his request implies you do. The journey feels surreal, the city unfamiliar, senses heightened by anticipation. You arrive at a sleek building of steel and glass. Inside, cool air hums with energy. Guided through halls of innovation, you reach a door. The phrase reverberates, Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. The door opens. There he is, not exaggeratedly larger than life, but his presence dominates. Relaxed yet sharp-eyed, he embodies ambition and pragmatism. No longer pixels or headlines, he's real. He stands, extends a hand. The grip is firm, unpretentious. Thanks for coming, he says casually, as if you're doing him a favor. His voice matches his interviews, calm, fragmented ideas orbiting a core. You reply humbly. He gestures to a chair in the minimalist room, sunlight streaming through a window. Silence follows, purposeful. He studies you. You're probably wondering why I asked to see you. You nod. Yes, I've been wondering a lot. A faint smile. Curiosity is good. It's the engine of progress. He leans back. I came across something you did. He pauses, letting it sink in. What I look for are signals, patterns that stand out. Most people accept the frame they're given. You see edges of possibility. Overwhelmed, you listen as he continues. There are too many problems: energy, transportation, space, AI. Timelines are urgent. You can't solve them alone. He asserts you've been thinking similarly. That's why I wanted to meet. I need to know how you think, not your resume, but your worldview. You speak honestly, sharing your observations, inefficiencies, and visions. He listens intently, nodding. When you finish, he says, that's interesting. Genuine. Most think linearly, but progress is exponential. You have to jump to the curve. The meeting clarifies. It's an evaluation, a test of alignment. I've learned you can't solve the future alone, he says. You need people who stretch the field. That's where you come in. He describes a critical, non-public problem: energy storage, climate resilience, and the fragility of interconnected systems, cascading failures. Experts are trapped in their models. You don't have that baggage. You're here because you noticed something others didn't. He shares a SpaceX story. Attempting the impossible to push progress. This is the same. If we don't get it right, progress could collapse. He softens. I don't expect answers today. The point is, are you willing to step into the unknown? You ask, if I say yes, what happens? The faintest smile. Then the real work begins. Why you? Out of billions, why would his attention settle on you? He's the figure who dominates screens and headlines, whether by rockets, electric cars, space, or social media storms. The notion feels absurd, like a storm pausing in the ocean just to shake your hand. Yet here it is, insisting on your awareness, insisting on shaping your day. Someone, an assistant, perhaps, or an official email, delivers the news in a tone that feels inexorable, as if the gravity of the moment has already been decided. The words arrive, and they don't dissipate. They cling to your thoughts, altering the texture of your desk, your half-finished work, the unread messages on your phone. The world around you grows small and provisional, as if scenery is about to be dismantled for a scene you can't yet see. You replay the phrase in your head, again and again. Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. You wonder who would dream of such a thing, who would envy or resent or simply watch to see what happens next. Sleep becomes difficult. That night, The mantra repeats, turning the phrase into something almost sacred, a refrain without verses. Morning arrives with a sharpened edge. The sunlight hits differently, the air feels charged, ordinary sounds crisp with possibility. It's as if reality has been filmed in higher definition, as if the universe itself is preparing you for what's to come. The logistics begin to arrive, a time, a place, perhaps a note about the nature of the meeting. You study the details as if they might slip away if you blink. By the time you reply, your hands tremble slightly. You reread your response 3 times, not because the words matter so much, but because every action feels symbolic, a step onto a path you won't easily leave once taken. The next days pull you into closer study of Elon Musk. You know the broad strokes: Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, the boring company, the ceaseless churn of tweets and headlines. But now you search for patterns, signals that hint at why you were chosen. You watch interviews not for entertainment, but for clues about the person you'll meet. You notice pauses, tonal shifts, moments when abstraction slips into concrete detail. Every fragment seems personal, as if you're not just studying a public figure, but preparing for a conversation that could alter the course of your life. Friends ask what's new, and you hesitate to tell them. It feels like tempting disbelief, like you're guarding a delicate secret ember that could scorch the moment if exposed too soon. The night before the meeting, sleep eludes you. You rehearse scenarios in your head. What if he asks about your work? What if he proposes something bold and demands your response? What if it's 5 minutes and utterly anticlimactic? The range of possibilities spirals outward. You picture walking into a room, shaking hands, exchanging small talk, then a sudden surge of intensity, Musk leaning in with a proposition that could tilt everything. You imagine silence and the riddle that might take years to interpret. Morning comes, and the air feels charged again. You dress with care, not because you fear judgment but because every detail feels meaningful, every reflection a possible signal of belonging in this moment. The journey to the meeting place is surreal. The city holds a different, rarer feel. Pedestrians' rhythm, traffic lights against glass, the soft hum of electric cars. Your senses sharpen, your breath aligns with a purpose you only half understand. You arrive at a sleek building, enter a corridor of doors that guard invention, pass rooms full of people with sharpened focus. Finally, you stand before a door with the phrase echoing in your head: Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. The door opens. He sits there, not as a larger-than-life figure in legend, but as a human presence that fills the room with a discipline and gravity you hadn't anticipated. He rises, extends a hand with a quiet formality, and you shake it. The phrase that haunted you becomes tangible, grounded, undeniable. "Thanks for coming," he says, as though you'd been the one inviting him into your world. His voice is calm, conversational, the cadence you've heard in interviews where ideas tumble out in fragments but always orbit a central gravity. He gestures toward a chair, and you sit across from him in a minimalist room where daylight gathers on the table between you. The silence that follows isn't awkward. It feels purposeful, as though he's weighing something intangible, and you're the material he needs to test. You wonder what he wants, how he's chosen you, what signal he saw in your work or in your words. "I came across something you did," he says, withholding details at first, letting the weight of the moment push you to reveal what you think about the world. The questions you've wrestled with, the inefficiencies you've noticed, the patterns you've detected, the ways systems could be reimagined, spill out with growing confidence. He listens without interrupting, nodding here and there, letting your words carve a map of your thinking. When you finish, he lets the room hold the moment. Then he leans forward and speaks 2 words that land with a precise impact. That's interesting. Not in the casual sense of everyday compliments, but as a genuine recognition that your thoughts have landed in his field of relevance. Here's the thing, he says, tapping the table lightly as if to mark the rhythm of his argument. Most people think in straight lines, cause and effect, one step at a time. But progress isn't linear. It's exponential. If you want to solve problems that matter, you have to jump to the curve. That's what I'm trying to do. In every area I touch, I aim to make the jump. He nods toward you, indicating that your way of seeing may fit within his constellation of minds. This isn't ceremonial. It's an evaluation, an opening, a test of alignment. He's probing to see whether your perspective can complement the vast, cross-disciplinary work he surrounds himself with. You feel exhilarated and exposed at once, aware that you've stepped into a space where the stakes are planetary and the timelines urgent. He doesn't pretend you're ordinary. He's looking for anomaly detectors, people who notice what slips past everyone else, who aren't shackled by conventional wisdom or siloed thinking. He wants someone not bound by the usual Silicon Valley or engineering or investor mindsets. He wants a mind that can see the edges of possibility. I've learned something over the years, he says, shifting into a cadence that signals a deeper, more personal conviction. You can't solve the future by yourself. You can push and set the pace, but there comes a moment when one person's effort isn't enough. You need people who see things differently, who can stretch the field in directions you can't. That's where you come in. He's offering an invitation, a professional and existential opening, a place in a larger mission, a chance to contribute to a problem that matters beyond any single company or project. He's describing a new kind of collaboration, one that relies on outsiders who can notice what the insiders miss. Here's a problem I've been working on. It's not public yet, but it's critical, and the timeline is tight. I need perspectives outside my usual circles. I need someone who isn't conditioned to think the way Silicon Valley thinks or the way engineers think or the way investors think. I need anomaly detectors. He makes eye contact, steady and unflinching. People who catch what slips past everyone else. Your throat goes dry. You want to ask what the problem is, but you sense he wants to unfold it in his own time. He gestures toward the window, where sunlight spills over the city. Think about energy. Think about climate. It's urgent. We already pushed with Tesla, with solar, with batteries. But even if we electrify every car, even if we scale renewables, there's still the issue of storage, long-term, seasonal, global. You can't run a civilization on good intentions if the sun doesn't shine for a week or the wind stops blowing. You need redundancy, resilience, backup. You nod slowly. The problem becomes less abstract and more concrete in that moment, a cascade of challenges you've pondered in half-formed form. But the real problem, he says in a softer voice, is what happens when you build systems so large, so interconnected, that no one truly understands them anymore. Fragility. Cascading failures. The risk isn't simply running out of power, it's the whole system breaking in unpredictable ways. That is the edge he's trying to see. The gravity in the room intensifies as he speaks, the truth of his words pressing into you with the force of a design brief you've always wanted to write but never could. It's one thing to read existential risks in the abstract, it's another to hear a man who commands rockets speak of fragility with blunt clarity. Then he softens. He doesn't expect answers today. The point is to test your willingness to step into the unknown, to look at problems that defy neat solutions, to think at a scale they demand. You sit with the weight of the moment, the quiet between breaths, the sense that you're standing at the threshold of something larger than you've imagined. He rests his elbows on the table, hands loosely interlaced, and waits with the calm patience of a strategist who knows the value of silence. When he speaks again, his tone is precise, as though he has placed you inside a larger mental model he uses to evaluate the world. I've learned something over the years, he repeats, a quiet echo of the earlier moment. You can't solve the future by yourself. He reiterates the invitation in different terms, underscoring that this is about alignment, not a single conversation. If I say yes, what happens? You ask silently. You want the honest next step, the actual commitment, the calendar, the structure, the expectations. He answers with the same measured certainty that has carried him through billions of dollars and miles of rocket fuel. The real work begins. The invitation lingers, and with it the sense that you are being asked to become part of a future you haven't yet imagined. The door closes softly behind you as you step back into the corridor of tomorrow, carrying a phrase that now means something entirely different. Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. And now, in the quiet after the meeting, you know why you were invited, and you know that everything just changed. The words land on you like a weight, heavier than the steady stream of daily noise. At first, they sound almost unreal, a phrase designed to disorient the listener. Elon Musk personally requested to meet you. It gnaws at the edges of your sense of reality, tilting the axis of your ordinary breath just enough to notice the shift.